I am Anil Kumar, and here is an application question to find equation of a line from two given points. Peter is walking at a constant speed in front of a motion sensor. After 2 seconds, he is 3.2 meters from the sensor. 2 seconds later, he is 6.2 meters from the sensor. Is Peter moving towards or away from the sensor? That's the first question. How fast is Peter walking? Find the equation that describes Peter's motion in the form of d equals to mt plus b. What is d-intercept? What does it mean? You can pause the video, answer this test question, and then look into my suggestions. Now let's read the question first once again. Peter is walking at a constant speed in front of a motion sensor. That means it's a linear motion. After 2 seconds, he is 3.2 meters from sensor. So that really means 2 seconds is the time and distance is 3.2. So we are looking for two coordinate points where independent variable is time and dependent variable is d, the distance. So when we say after 2 seconds he is 3.2 meters from the sensor, it means 2 is the time and 3.2 is the distance. That becomes the coordinate point of this, relating to this phrase. After 2 seconds he is 3.2 meters from the sensor. Then we have 2 seconds later he is 6.2 meters from the sensor. 2 seconds later means 2 plus 2 becomes 4. He is 6.2 meters later. So that becomes the second point, right? So I hope you appreciate this concept, right? How to get your coordinate points and how to relate them over the given situation, right? Now let's look into the question. Is Peter moving towards or away from the sensor? So we can see as the time went by, the distance increased. So he moved away, correct? So the answer is he moved away since the distance increases with time, right? Now the question is, how fast is Peter walking? The speed of, so this speed we can find with rate of change or the slope in this case. So slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That is to say 6.2 minus 3.2 divided by 4 minus 2, correct? So 6.2 minus 3.2 is 3 divided by 2, and the units are for y2, these units are in meters and this is in seconds. So it is meters per second, correct? So it is 3 over 2 meters per second, or we can say that the speed is equal to 1.5 meters per second, okay? Now the question is, find the equation that describes Peter's motion in the form of d equals to mt plus b. Now in this equation, we already know m, which is the speed, right? We know m. So we can write this as d equals to 3 over 2. I prefer to use fractions, t plus b. Now it is a question to find b, which you can find using any one of these 2 points. Let's use 2, 3.2. 2 is the time and 3.2 is the distance. So replacing d with 3.2 and t with 2, what do we get? Now here you can see 2 and 2 gets cancelled, so we are left with 3 here, and solving we get b equals to 3.2 minus 3, which is 0.2, correct? Therefore, if I substitute 0.2 here, what happens? The equation will become 3 over 2 t plus 0.2. So that's the answer. So my equation is d equals to 3 over 2t, or 1.5 you can write, plus 0.2. This equation relates. Now the last part is, what is d-intercept? That is to say, when we say d-intercept, it means, let me just sketch a rough graph here, right? Let me sketch a rough graph here. So where t is the time here and d is the distance, right? So we know Peter is moving away, kind of like this. So somewhere at 2 and this is at 4. These are given to us. And what we found was this d-intercept is 0.2. Now what is the meaning of d-intercept here? So d-intercept is when time t equals to 0, right? T equals to 0 gives you d-intercept. What does it mean? It gives you the starting point, right? So we can say starting point or initial value, initial distance, or we can say how far Peter was at t equals to 0 from the sensor. Do you see? Initial distance, or we can say how far away at, so distance from, we can say distance from the sensor, the motion sensor, at t equals to 0. So these are different ways you can explain what is d-intercept. Basically, d-intercept is a point where t is 0. So how far, what was the distance when t was 0, when Peter started walking. So that is how you can answer these application questions, right? I hope you understand them. Go through it once again, since these are very popular questions in your test. Thank you and all the best.